Sorry, it's Kenya singing. I wanted to hear what she was singing because, wow, this video is 10 minutes long.
Ew.
Ew, I can't wait to watch it.
10 minutes?
Is it all of her singing?
I don't know, but she has a very weird filter, so.
10 minutes?
I didn't know Kenya was that musically inclined.
I mean, she's a performer to her
She is a performer.
That she is.
Gone with the Wind, fabulous.
Gone with the wind, baby.
Miss USA, not to be confused with Miss America.
Yes. Wow. Don't quit your day job. You are not Beyonce. Why are people so rude?
Wait, who said that?
Because it's a Kenya. She's just on there doing a little filter, like singing Beyonce. Let people live life.
Wait.
It's Auntie Lulu 623. I don't know.
Why does it have to go from like her putting something on Instagram to you're not Beyonce? Like, why does it have to be that? Like, why does the disparity have to be that fucking much of a stretch?
I don't know.
Very
It just makes
extreme.
me sad.
Who fucking cares?
Well, I'm sure Kenya doesn't give a fuck, so who does care?
Question for you guys.
Mhm.
Have you seen anything about, with all of the Bethany stuff out there and all of the stuff that we're seeing, one thing slipped under the radar that I just saw this morning that I don't know
God.
if you guys are,
What could have possibly slipped into the radar with that one?
well, it involves, and I never thought I'd say this, but I am on Carol Radziwill's side on this, but have you seen these comments that they've been trading
No.
about the infamous
Shocker.
Regency picture of Tom kissing from way back when and who allegedly took the photo?
Cone.
Michael fucking Cohen.
Cohen, excuse me.
Was it Cohen or is it Cohen?
Who is
I think I'm thinking of Roy
Either way-
Cohen, but it's not.
Oh,
it's
it's
Cohen.
Roy-
It's Cohen.
Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen, the infamous with Stormy Daniels
Yeah,
and all
do you
that.
remember?
Oh,
That
what?
allegedly Michael Cohen
really-
was at
really
showed up
weird.
to a dinner that Carol was at, and he knows he'd met her years prior with Aviva, he said, and he called up Harry Dubin. Like this fucker is dialed in with all of these New York housewives and housewives adjacent, and he let it slip that who do you think is the one who took the photo of Tom kissing that chick at the Regency Hotel?
Well, it's Michael Cohen.
Michael Cohen. I mean,
Oh.
I was just blown away by this.
I mean, I don't even know what to think. I haven't thought about that in years.
I did see a little bit of that, but then Bethany said that that's not true. And
then-
Carol's like, yes, it is.
Right.
So explain to me, what is Carol's stake to lie about something like that? Like, why is Bethany telling her that's not true?
Right.
I need
That's
to
my
understand.
point. Well, what I don't know, my theory is this, that Michael probably took the photo and sent it to someone who sent it to Bethany. But Bethany is just staking so hard on calling Carol a liar and they're now getting into this little.
Stand Carol.
I know.
Why the fuck does she care?
Look, I never thought I would
Why
be
the
like
fuck does she
standing
care?
Carol. Why?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Why does she care?
Doesn't
because
she
she's
have enough?
petty. I mean,
She's what?
She's petty.
She
Who's
is
putty?
Bethany.
Oh, petty or putty? Oh, I thought you were like, she's putty. And I'm like, oh my God, that means she's easily malleable?
Petty. She's petty.
only.
Like, petty cash.
Wait, but how does she have this much energy?
I don't
Seriously,
know.
Why does she have this much energy to go out and say Carol's a liar about that? Why the fuck does it matter?
It should not matter. And I
It's
never
just
thought.
an anecdote. And why would Carol need to lie about like that?
Right. Like what is Carol's stake in that game to come out and say this to malign Bethany in some way? No. She's literally coming out and just stating what she claims is a fact. But Bethany's firing off at everybody. I mean, again, I never thought that I would be siding with Carol on any
I know.
side of an argument.
How do you feel
but,
about that?
You know, it's an uncomfortable place to live in.
You were not a Carol fan, huh?
Yes, correct.
Look, it's hard to be a fan sometimes and a viewer when you have to work with some of these people.
Oh, that's right.
Because
I forgot that y'all overlapped.
and usually
I forgot about that.
for me personally, it's when you're younger in your career, or like not. I don't want to say by age. I mean like where you are in the hierarchy of things. You tend to like them less when you are in the how would you say it, guys? I have no English language today.
Like in kind of
Like you're greener,
Yes, lower to
Okay.
mid-level positions.
and not that we don't do bitch and grunt work till the day that
Regardless.
we die.
Yeah.
But when you're having to do like the little things like plan a party or make sure that all of the skinny girl shit is all over the fucking scene and in frame. And, you know, we have the skinny girl, whatever. When you have to do all of that work, it's not as though I don't want to malign those who are still working in those positions to hate their job, but you know, it just kind of gets annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
Just like any other job. And when you have to associate a cast member on a show with those little menial things that you have to do for them, it's hard to come back from that.
By the way, it's true.
1,000
It's true.
monarch butterflies.
1,000.
1,000.
Not 1,001.
Wow, what?
I know
Not
we've told the story,
999.
but for some of our new listeners, tell the story.
I was.
It's funny the asks that some of our cast members have.
That's really what it comes down
It's just
to.
like hysterical. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And especially when you're in certain positions like a segment producer, which would be the person who is more often than not kind of spearheading, executing the plans for an event of a cast members. Sometimes, look, it can be thankless work regardless when you're in these lower positions, which just does kind of come with the territory.
That's what the money's for.
That's what the money's for.
Says Don Draper.
That's right. But some cast members are more particular and are easier to work with than others. You know, some you may just be booking, booking whatever the venue is and the catering and things like that. Nothing too insane. Others, like Carol in this instance, had a lot of very specific requests that were just over the top. Like specifically and exactly 1,000 monarch butterflies.
what?
No
What
more,
event was this?
no less. The Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil party.
It was her 50th birthday. It was her 50th birthday party on RHONY
That's right.
that Heather Thompson was planning.
And there was that
Right.
great scene when I think she goes to talk to Heather or something, and Heather's like, "This is too much." She's either I can't remember if she's either on the phone or like it's an email. but
That's
she's like,
right.
"You won't believe this email I just got from Carol. All these things. It's too much."
Yeah. Well, while Heather got that email, I was on that email. And Heather was not the one
Here's the
who
thing.
was expected to execute on that.
were
I
coordinating.
was.
So for those out there who are unfamiliar, The Midnight of the Garden of Good and Evil is a book, but it's also like lore in the Gothic South, which is, you know, ghostly and like things happen after dark. And we're talking Savannah, Georgia, New Orleans, like that
Yeah.
type of
Spanish
theme.
moss and
The scales, the woman
woman,
yeah.
with scales,
Yes.
you know, holding like good and
Yeah.
evil. So while I appreciate a good aesthetic, and like you see, here's where I'm at with the story. I completely support EP's feelings on it because I too was that person who had to do all those things and sometimes arguably still do. I love a good theme and I actually think it's perfect. Like, but the 1,000 butterflies.
Oh, and that was only one item on a list that was probably 1,000 items long. Here's the thing. It's a great idea for a party theme. If you are hiring a
like
party
doves.
planner, what's the name of the party planner that the Kardashians use that's like
Oh
super
my God,
famous in
Mindy
Hollywood?
Wise.
Thank you. I was
Love
spacing.
her. Worked with her.
If
Great.
you're hiring Mindy Wise to execute a Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil themed party,
Yeah.
wonderful. You're also paying her tens of thousands of dollars.
More, but yeah.
Let's just say I wasn't getting paid that.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that I would have with it too is these emails would come overnight at like 2, 3 in the morning. So I'd wake up at like 7 a.m. to this and I'd just be like, well, fuck my life.
God.
I hate when they email at night. It's
the
like, what
worst.
are you doing with your life?
Really, why?
Go to
yeah.
sleep.
Go to sleep.
Okay, but didn't you feel vindicated though when they did show a little scenelet from the party of the butterflies and they were all
Yes.
dead?
Oh my God! I don't
when
see, I
they
don't
showed
remember
up and they
this.
were dead, that was really that was the kicker.
I'm not trivializing the dead butterflies. That makes me ill, but I mean,
But they're, look,
I
karma's
must have blocked that out because I do vividly remember this party. I know exactly which one y'all are talking about, but I do not remember the butterflies.
well,
it was like a whatever
fucking
party, and I think
butterflies.
it was the party that that Harry Dubin left with Luann.
It
yes,
is.
it most certainly is. It
Yeah.
most certainly is.
I remember Sonia retells it. We're leaving. That's what she said. That's what she said. Luann said to her, and then they turned their back and got in the car.
How could you do that, Luann?
How could you?
And then we have to hear about again when Luann ultimately ends up with Tom D'Agostino. I mean, guys, we're on a RHONY theme today.
really are.
Really?
I mean, Michael Cohen,
It's all
Harry
out there.
Dubin.
Mhm.
You know who I would love to appear on this new RHONY?
Harry Dubin?
Harry fucking Dubin.
Well,
Harry deserves pop-ins on
Careful
every
what,
Bravo
careful what you ask
franchise.
for, because
Exactly.
he might be right around the corner.
I'm here for it.
Careful
I am
what you wish
here
for.
for it.
Because let's be clear here. Bryn and Harry Dubin.
God, gross.
I could see that.
Bren,
I'm kidding.
Bren,
I'm
you
kidding.
If you're listening.
deserve better than that.
Bren,
I
if
could
you're
see Harry
listening.
Duber.
Guys, it's Monday, okay?
Goober,
It's fucking
goober,
Monday,
baby.
all right? Is it Monday or is it Tuesday?
I
What day
don't know.
is it?
It's Tuesday.
Is it Monday?
Who cares?
It's just another Manic Tuesday,
It's
okay?
it's a weekday, so
It's
fuck
just
off.
another Manic Tuesday.
Manic Tuesday.
All right, guys. Well, in keeping of the theme of RHONY, should we just get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Reality Bites, the podcast where we'll deep dive into this week's buzziest reality TV and pop culture happenings.
I'm Betsy, and while I may be 9 to 5 by day, I'm a reality connoisseur by night.
And I'm JJ, a reality TV producer by trade, but my favorite pastime is dishing unfiltered dirt and behind-the-scenes scoop. We'll tackle the biggest and best water cooler moments of the week through an insider lens you won't find anywhere else.
Buckle up, buttercups.
Please don't tell me it's about Tom.
It's about Tom.
This is Reality Bites. All right, guys. We're in episode 5.
Episode 5 of RHONY.
Is it 5?
I think.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I think it is 5. Glad to
Alright.
be back in New York.
Sorry, but I feel like
you
it's
sound very enthused.
I think it is 5.
Yeah, it is 5.
Yeah.
Okay, it is 5. Betsy, how are you feeling thus far?
I watched episode 4 and 5 back to back.
Mhm.
I enjoyed them. I'm happy to be back in New York. I'm happy to be away from the Hamptons.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I honestly, I enjoy hearing the backstory of everyone. I like that we had the backstory of Bryn. We got a little.
We missed that in episode
Yeah.
4. I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, so it's all one big episode for me. I decided that I like some of the women together, but I like them really independently of each other.
Have your thoughts changed from episode 1 towards people now that we're in episode 5?
My feelings that they were not friends has never been more confirmed. but I do think the chemistry has gotten better with a handful of them. I will say Sai for the biggest. She said the biggest growth for me, and I think that's just getting to know her more.
Yeah.
Like her backstory, and then in this episode we got her backstory more of like influencer professional, because to me an influencer is like a catch-all. It's like, what the fuck does that really
course.
mean?
Yes,
So
totally.
really getting to kind of see what she does and, having it make a little bit more sense. I really, really am starting to like her a whole lot. I think she's funny. So she honestly is probably the only person that I was like, oh, she seems kind of annoying. And now, like episode 5, I really like her.
Yeah.
Obviously still love Bren, love Uba. Jenna lives in the unknown to me. I kind of like her. I really like her independent story. I think
Neutral.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm neutral on her, but I and then Erin's a toss up. Some days I like her, some days I don't. And Jessel, see ya. I don't know. I don't like Jessel that much as it stands right now.
I don't want neutral to be confused with khaki, okay? Because that was the biggest problem with the khaki. Khaki's a color. Khaki is not an item of clothing, okay?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Eeps.
I echo a lot of what Betsy said. I think I definitely don't think that there is a chemistry between them that has any proof that they've been friends for a long time. This is a cast that was put together. Maybe they knew of each other, but come on. I think I started really liking Erin and then have kind of become more lukewarm. But then this episode, I appreciated her a lot more. So there's ebbs and flows with her, which totally makes sense. This is the first 5 episodes of seeing a new cast member.
I think an ebb and a flow is a good place to be in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like sometimes you're like, uh-huh. And then sometimes you're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh.
Yeah.
Uba started loving, still
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
The more we found out about her. Bryn, the exact same.
Yeah.
I was really, I loved the scene last week in the barbershop and, getting her backstory through that, because I thought that was such just a really great way to, frame her telling her story.
And the backdrop was a perfect catalyst to that because of, stereotypes, women of color, their hair, how they present themselves, and kind of explaining that while also sitting in the chair and in a way kind of explaining like the white gaze.
Yes.
That's how she is telling her story of like her mother being white. I mean, excuse me, well, her mother, but her grandmother being white and just being simply unaware of what it is to be a Black woman and a biracial woman at that in America, and what that is like, and how to raise somebody who is going to have culturally a vastly different experience than, you know, most. Not, I don't know. I thought that was actually really
I love
poetic in a way, that like the hair, getting her hair done by a Black woman, and then also contextualizing it. It was I don't know, it was really kind of poetic in a way.
I thought it was beautifully done. I really, really thought that was great. And you know, Jenna doesn't fit really, but I enjoy everything that she does on screen. Like I love Jenna Lyons, but she does not fit within this cast.
Yeah, let's get her in those solo scenes, baby.
Yeah,
She
all
thrives.
day. All day.
Well, we did get her in a solo scene, and everybody got upset because she was having an event at her house.
That was one of my favorite scenes of the episode.
Which I'm pretty sure that she said, I don't know, I don't remember what it is. I have an event or something, but I know I can't make it, which also...
She did. She said she has an event at her house and she can't make it.
Well, having her godchildren and her son there, I mean, there was a chef. It could be considered a quote-unquote event.
She didn't lie.
It's a family
I
event.
think it was the rhetoric she used.
Yeah.
That the women felt were like that was a miss. But she answered the
Absolutely.
phone.
She did.
If she were lying and
And
didn't...
a FaceTime at that.
Exactly.
Yes.
If she really was trying to keep that away from the women, she wouldn't have answered the FaceTime.
Correct.
She wouldn't have wanted to do the FaceTime.
Right, exactly. So I'm with you 100%. Jessel is problematic.
I know, we're gonna talk
we'll
about
talk
it.
all about that. But, you know, look, I think my opinions have more or less stayed the same. I do really like Sai. I don't think I ever really disliked Sai. Maybe I found her a little annoying at first, but I've warmed up to her. I think her backstory and...
We're not trying to judge everybody book by its cover right away, but, you know, this is a new series, new people.
We're showing how much we have grown.
exactly.
How much we've evolved.
Showing growth.
But as, like, stepping aside from just the cast, like the show as a whole, though, I think it's glossy. I think it's pretty.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good. It's shot well. It's lit pretty well. And they are developing a rhythm, you
It's going
know?
to take a second.
Exactly. It's going to take a minute, but they're developing a rhythm with each other. And I think that, you know, some of the elements that maybe felt a little bit more forced early on are starting to kind of settle in as they spend more time together, just kind of and build the dynamics of a group in a cast.
And I think we're seeing them even be more open and forgiving with each other as they get to know their castmates. Honestly, I mean, I hate saying it like that. You know how I hate using like show
Castmates,
talk in a way to talk about it, but that's just the truth. I mean, it's not lost on any of us, as you've said, Betsy. Like that's never wavered. You've always felt that they weren't all like close knit group of friends before going on to the show together. And that was shown really them in the Hamptons. But then as we're getting more into their backstory, we're seeing the women be more open and give more latitude towards each other, which is helpful that that's happening.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Because it would have been unfortunate if that didn't happen. So
yeah. But what about you? How are you feeling episode 5 from episode 1?
I mean, I hate to sound boring, but I do echo a lot of what all of you are saying. I have issues with Jessel. Here's the thing. I can see where the viewers are seeing her as being this kind of out of touch. It's a little delusional, so it's funny, it's quirky. I'm not saying everyone's likening it to Sonia, but I get it. I get where people are coming from and liking her so much. It's hard for me to compartmentalize this one because although I can see it from a viewer standpoint, I'm very bothered by the way that we're telling her story. And I guess we'll kind of get into it, but like, I just feel that same quirkiness that I think people are celebrating it's not, to me, it's not so transparent like with Sonia. Sonia was delusional. You know, she talked about yachting in San Tropez, but she doesn't keep the fucking heat on because she can't afford it.
Yeah.
That, to me, right there is a way to show that she is delusional. But on the flip side, you know, we're seeing the flip side of that, right?
Right.
So that's what makes it a little funny. With Jessel, it's
and
like
all,
that.
Sorry to interrupt, but they all also knew Sonia.
Exactly.
So they knew her backstory. They knew that she once, had all this money, and now she's the only thing she has is a townhome. And
Correct.
So it's a little bit, it's different than
different.
kind of how this is playing out with the new cast.
Whereas with Jessel, what I'm seeing right now, yes, it's quirky, and yes, it can be funny, and yes, it's it's causing conversation within the cast and outside of the show.
Right.
But it's really reading to me that we're not telling her backstory in the way that I think that it should be told, because I think that there's a connotation that maybe the network or whomever is overseeing what these stories are to show that they really all knew each other, almost in a way that feels like they had trepidation to say that she moved to New York for the show.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
That's what it feels like to me.
Yes, exactly.
And because I'm rewatching season 5 of Atlanta, guys, that's Richie again. He's a talker.
They're being vocal today, so
They're being very vocal today.
may hear a peanut gallery.
Yes. But in rewatching season 5, as I am right now, I'm seeing that Kenya, that's her first season. Her backstory is she lived in LA for 18 years. She's been in entertainment, but now she's ready to move back to Atlanta because she wants a different change of pace. It's a new chapter of her life.
Right.
I don't want to speak out of turn by saying that, like, I know all of the nuance and all the details, but I'm a producer and I've been doing this for a long time. This is reeking to me as though she moved to New York to be on the show, and I can't understand why we can't tell that story.
Yeah.
I think it's doing Jessel a disservice by not telling it because it makes her look like a liar.
Yeah.
And that is not what I want for her,
Right.
nor is it one that she wants for herself. And I don't want this to get lost in. I think that Jessel is pretending she has more than she has. I don't think that is what it is. But I think it can easily get lost in that narrative if we're just simply not actually telling the true story as to why she's there. I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
like the LOLs about Tribeca, which I do think is funny. We'll get into in a minute.
Yeah.
That is not an LOL to me. That is a person who does not understand New York City.
I've got thoughts and feelings on this.
Yeah, I've never been to New York, and even I was like, well, that seems wrong. And that's saying a lot for me.
And it is.
Okay.
Well, I was just so proud that everything that I was shouting at the TV before somebody else would say it after that. Like, I was like so mad. I was like, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette, they lived in Tribeca, guys. It is up and coming. No way. It's there. It has arrived, baby.
Yeah.
And then Aaron's like, no, it wasn't Aaron. Who
It was
else?
Bryn.
It was
It was Bryn
Bryn.
that
Yeah,
said that.
Bryn said it. Or, I was like, no, Tribeca is there. Like, Tribeca is the most expensive fucking neighborhood. It's clear that Jessel's not from New York. And then Aaron's like, it's clear she doesn't know New York. And I'm like, oh my
Exactly.
God, I'm so glad the cast is also picking up on what I'm picking up on and they're actually saying it.
Yeah.
We're just not at the point where we're saying it to her face yet.
Now, you didn't work on this season, and I know that. But how much of this do you think is Jessel wanting to shield and protect and pretend that the facade that she didn't move here for the show because she thinks it's going to make her look like X, Y, and Z, whatever it is? How much of that do you think she really is trying to put on, or how much of it do you think the producers are letting her get away with, or maybe not asking the right questions, or not, or maybe they also want that narrative out there that no, they are friends?
I think it's both, which is the reason why the cast hasn't come. I don't want to say like at her, but like really have questioned. That's why we're seeing it peppered with Aaron saying something very innocuously in her confessional. It's very clear that Jessel doesn't know New York.
Yeah.
That's Aaron saying she just fucking moved here
and I don't know
she
her.
clearly doesn't fucking know the city. But I think that it's hard for me to really say who it is because I think it's both. I think that they know that she just moved. I mean, she just moved into that apartment over the summer leading into filming the show in the fall. How can you not know that she just moved there? I mean, that's a hard thing to hide.
Yeah.
And I think it's both. And I don't know why. And I think it's both. And then I think that they're letting Jessel lead the way in that, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of to me, and I don't know for sure, but I would kind of speculate that a lot was riding on this reboot, right?
Reboot.
The reboot of the New York. And And I think that the network in their casting, whatever the reason why Jessel was picked out of, I'm sure, you know, they looked at a million other people. They, you know, New York is an iconic franchise. And I think that they wanted to, in this new era of it, have it feel as though they are all friends, as though they are all like, maybe not from New York originally, but that they are in New York society, whatever that version of New York society is in 2023 versus what we saw in, you know, 2009 or whatever, 10. And I think that given that that was kind of the baseline stipulation or what was spoken or not spoken, Jessel's running with it. I agree that had she been introduced as though she knows maybe a couple of them, because also she's in fashion, so one could venture to reason that she had spent time in New York or traveled to New York.
She has.
Jenna is in fashion. Other, you know, there is overlap within these circles, or there can be, you know. But been open and upfront about, you know, look, she moved to New York full time a few months ago. That would have, you know, created a buffer for the ridicule that definitely came in this episode more so than others.
Sure.
Because I do agree that the cast has definitely not pointed out things that maybe could be flags of, okay, well, you definitely haven't lived in New York for a long time. But once you say Tribeca is up and coming, that's like, okay, that's the most asinine thing that you could ever possibly say. Yeah. And it just speaks like that you can't hide. And Erin's in real estate. Like,
exactly.
Come on.
So it's like she knows that she's saying this to Erin, but that's how out of touch she actually is. Because what Jessel is saying isn't her putting up a facade. No. It's actually what she believes, but she's not realizing that she's saying it to the person that actually knows.
Yeah.
And I don't want to generalize and say that Jessel does not know New York at all. She obviously does work in fashion. She has spent time there. I think her and her husband met in New York City. She repped Michael Kors. Like, there is a connection to New York. It's just not one that lives in knowing New York in the way that I think that the network wants the cast to be perceived as knowing, because of the flack that they've gotten in the past for having not represented New York in the way that viewers feel like there's so much texture and color, and New York is so rich that in the past with the other RHONY, we're not seeing that. So that criticism, I think, is almost in a lot of ways kind of dovetailing into this. Let's not show Jessel not being from New York or not having lived in New York, because we really want to show diversity and we want to show the real New York. Well, you know what? The real New York is moving to New York.
Yeah.
People move to New York.
I just feel like it's
dreams.
such a missed opportunity. Because,
yes, I agree.
Because, yes, you don't want everyone to be a Jessel on the reboot of New York Housewives. You don't want everyone to have just freshly moved there. But what a great perspective to have. Yeah. And like, what it could invite so much comedy, especially that scene. I think it was last episode when they were talking about like getting their toddlers into the school. And she's talking about like the charcuterie board and all this stuff.
The out of touch stuff can be funny like in its authenticity.
Yeah. And be like, oh my God, we've only fully lived here for 3 months. And her kind of like experience in the city and leaning on these new friends to kind of show her around. And no, Tribeca's like not up and coming, baby. It's here. Like,
correct.
But I want her to lean into it. And I don't know if it's her, she can't get out of her own way, but I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. It's not that we're upset that you're not born and raised in New York. Right. Just be who you are and know that it will be enough and we'll go along with you.
Like, for instance, the Montessori scene with Pavitt last episode. I wanted to live in the space of laughing at this moment, but because there's no context that she just moved, I was taking it seriously. And I was like, this is a red flag, where she's like, but it's good, Pavitt, because there was charcuterie and wine. Okay, well, if you know anything about preschools in New York or prep schools, private schools, of course there's charcuterie and wine.
Yeah.
Like at everything.
But she's saying it as like Pavitt, see? That would be funny to me. Yeah. If she was a fish out of water.
Right.
We're not leaning into that.
The angle is wrong.
Yes, the angle is wrong, which is why we don't see Erin poking fun at her at the Tribeca stuff. She is in a way, but there was more opportunity for like, Jessel, girl, you are new to New York. Tribeca has arrived, baby. Yeah. We need to show you around. Instead,
she was caught off guard.
She's being a little kind of chastised. And I think it's making Jessel uncomfortable, which is why she's on the defense at this fucking coffee dinner.
Yeah.
Or coffee dinner.
Coffee
Coffee
dinner.
meetup the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
I think some of her on edgeness that we see her being defensive is because there's a part of her that feels like she cannot tell her true story.
Yeah.
There's a part of her that, there's a part
know
of
what
her
I
that
mean?
she's like hiding, and it's nothing bad. It's not like some secret, but the Tribeca piece, Erin couldn't help but, it's so absurd, but she couldn't help but comment and be like,
Well, of
yo,
course.
bro.
Because then that would have been
asinine.
inauthentic for Erin.
Correct.
You know what I
Correct.
mean?
Yeah,
Come on.
she can't stand by or sit by and
No.
like let that go without saying something because come on. Jerry Seinfeld, Sarah Jessica Parker, Taylor Swift,
The Tribeca Film Festival.
Robert De Niro, the Tribeca Film Festival. Like, Tribeca is the most expensive zip code in all of New York City, and
the Cipriani
for
fucking
a
private
long
club
time.
that you have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to fucking get into or whatever.
Yes, there could be more restaurants, right?
Restaurants and bars? Are you kidding me?
She just doubled down and blessed her heart for doing that. But
That was a bless her heart moment. Yes.
I wanted her to be like,
restaurants?
oh, maybe my friends got it wrong. Yeah, I don't know. But instead, oh well, no, there could be more restaurants, right? And Erin's like, no,
no.
we have all we need to have.
There's
Yeah,
all
like-
of the things.
I don't care. I mean, don't hold me to this, but I have it on good authority. Like, she rents her apartment. No big deal. That's a $20,000 a month apartment.
Yeah,
Why not talk about that?
Right.
yeah.
Why not talk about when you moved, there was like a struggle of what neighborhood to live in because you clearly don't know what the fuck New York really
That's
is.
insane. It's a
Right.
missed opportunity for me.
Like-
Yeah, agreed.
I love New York. I know more about New York than she does.
yeah,
And that's sad.
and I
By
know
far.
nothing. So
Yeah.
And you
and
know
how
that
great.
this is
You and I could have a show together, and you
asinine.
know more than I do, and it's a balance.
Yeah.
Like, I get where people are coming from, where they want everyone to be this, authentic New Yorker, but that also is not realistic because, like you say, people move to New York every single day from all different types
Yeah, and it's
of
not-
walks of life.
And it's not passing the small test.
It is-
This could have
yes,
been an
thank you.
opportunity of she had the twins. They're 18 months old.
Yeah.
It's her time. It's
Right.
her time to arrive.
Yeah.
It's her time to get back in the business of fashion.
Yeah.
And where better place to fucking do it than New York fucking City, the capital of the world in fashion.
Yeah,
You know,
That's right.
Milan, Paris.
Buddy.
yeah,
Like there's an opportunity for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just like we're supposed to just believe that she's already up and swinging in her career. I mean, there are so many things that aren't passing the small test. Literally, Erin's like, I didn't know you went back to work.
I'm working.
And then she gets
I'm working.
in, quote unquote trouble for questioning that she went back to work. And Erin's like, but I didn't know. So what? I'm not a working mom. I'm not a working girl. It's like,
And then it turns
Jesus.
into women supporting women. It's just
It's
that,
like
that
all
seems
of that
so
to me
problematic.
is a direct consequence of not telling the truth from the jump.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And it
she
does
is fish out of
Jessel-
water. She does feel
Yes.
uncomfortable.
And it's doing her a
Yeah.
disservice. She would be more likable.
I think so.
And relatable if it was just kind of put out there and positioned that way at the top.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to blame the network. I don't want to blame Jessel. I'm just going to everyone's a little culpable, I think, in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that we're telling that story. And it's a missed opportunity. And I know that maybe right now for the viewers, it's funny, haha, laugh. I think given a few more episodes, this is going to dovetail into a problem.
It's going to get tired.
Yeah. And so that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, I can laugh and I can be a part of that. But my producer cap is like, yeah, but I can't laugh because it's not funny because it's not like meant to be funny. Does that make
Right,
sense?
right.
Yeah. And
Well,
let's
she's not
just,
in on it. She's not in on the joke.
Exactly.
she's not in on the joke.
Unlike
Exactly.
a Sonia Morgan.
Right. And let's just be very, very clear for everyone in the bleachers in the back. Jessel is no Sonia Morgan. Like
no,
that,
no.
that is just not a comp to make. I get the delusion, the silly, the this, but like
Not
Sonia-
everybody's making that, but,
No, but
I've seen it.
too.
Yeah.
And I have as well. And she just does not check those boxes in that way. And I think it is doing her a disservice. I think that, I wonder, and I think that I would like her more as a character
Mhm.
within the microcosm of this show if there was more honesty about it up front and just kind of putting it all on the table.
Well, yeah, because then it would make all the other things like Montessori and the charcuterie board and wine that's such a shock to everyone.
Right.
It's not that big of a deal. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I mean, you went to prep school.
I did. And every prep
Did you
school you
eat meat
toured
and cheese?
has meat and cheese and,
Yeah, it's like a
I was
thing.
underage, so no wine for me, but my parents
Yeah.
had wine.
And also, I wonder how differently that would have gone if she told Erin that. Or she had told one of the other women who, would have that type of experience.
Well, we would also get more textured scenes of maybe the women really showing her New York.
Well, and
Yeah.
as
In a
it's
real
living
way.
as it's living right now, as I'll call them peers on the show, half of the show has been in the Hamptons right now, right? So I think
Yeah.
now that we're back, maybe we will get a few more of these moments, especially now that Erin's her red flags are kind of up about this. Like, I wonder if we'll get a few more moments of the women kind of being able to pick out, like, this seems a little odd or this seems a little
Yeah,
off.
Right.
And then it'll be really telling to see how Jessel responds to that, because she just seems to get very, very defensive. And like the women said in this episode, that there's no accountability as it stands right now. I mean, again, it's still early, but and she's probably, I know we were on the same side of wanting the women to kind of calm down and back off of them talking about sex with her all the time.
I still echo that.
and
Yeah.
we're
Same.
still on that side. I mean, even in it was this episode.
Yeah, they
tonight,
brought it up again.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my god, like
Enough.
enough of that. So I do feel a sense of discomfort from her, and she seems very tense, tightly wound, and it's kind of like when you have something that you're hiding. Not saying that she has something sinister, but I do feel like maybe she's putting on a facade, and when you're like that, it's hard to relax.
It comes off
Yeah.
pathological. Like when you lie about the little bitty baby nothings in life,
Yeah.
like what you had for breakfast. Like another missed opportunity is we're not seeing her talk about what's going on in her life, which is then leads me to believe maybe is that why the women are only bringing up the sex? These women all have children. Have they not experienced trying to get their kids into prep school in New York City?
Right. Why are they not talking
why
about
can't
that?
she talk to the women about that?
yeah.
It's
I mean,
kind of
good point.
weird. It's like, it's just kind of weird. And then the one thing that I will say is funny, and this is a moment where I'm going, see, this is kind of comedy, even though it's at the sacrifice of Erin, is Erin saying that her grandmother died. How unfortunate. I'm glad that worked out for you.
mean-
That's funny.
God.
But
yes.
but we can't, I mean, we're laughing, but then like the other stuff, it's just like, I don't know.
Well, because that moment's just born out of sheer awkwardness and like not being able to like be in like have any type of sincere emotion.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope it worked out. Sigh, I got you this sigh, and like turned around so much to Erin was like, that was
You're like,
wow.
what?
I guess the funeral went well. I don't know what to say. It's just like
know.
I mean, oh, holy night. The stars are brightly shining. Did you see that Jessel gifted her Christmas tree dress in a shadow
What?
box to Andy at Watch What Happens
no,
Live?
I did not see that.
No.
She presented it to Andy to
For,
put in the
like,
clubhouse.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jessel, but
How do y'all
it's
feel
not-
about that?
There's not enough space in there for that.
Wait, do you mean metaphorical space or actual space?
Both.
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 Also,
Honestly.
that is not
That's
iconic enough to be in the
that's what I was
fucking
gonna- That's
clubhouse.
not iconic enough to be. I'm sorry.
But are we basing what the iconography could and should be based on other franchises?
No.
I mean, some would argue, I would argue that Jax's sweater, that came from season 1, and that's in the Hall of Bravo.
Bravo as a network programs itself that they just air encores and repeats and marathons of things. So by the time that was gifted to the clubhouse, that had aired hundreds of times and it became iconic.
What else has been inducted
Cameras,
into
well,
The bunny.
The bunny.
the bunny?
But that's perfect. That's been on for seasons and seasons, right?
Now, can Andy ever reject? Does he feel awkward doing that?
He accepts all gifts.
And then
but
he trashes them?
Well, it's like, where
Some
are
of
they
them.
displayed? Do they...
Are they in the conference room?
Or are they in the bathroom?
In the embassy row? Or are they behind
Like,
him?
Yeah. I can understand that not judging it completely on whether it's iconic because they are a new reboot, but I do think that, can we let the audience kind of decipher what the iconography is?
You're doing,
Yeah, at
Jessel
least-
was doing the most.
At least wait
Like,
to the
I didn't-
reunion to
well, I
see
didn't-
if we even care still.
Well, at least let us have a week's worth of memes about it. I don't know if I saw that many fucking things about the fucking dress.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, fail for me.
And she never thought it was funny. So it's like, why? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Usually
Because
there's
she's
like,
trying to make a moment because it was
Exactly.
a big moment for her
Like,
on TV.
yeah.
Jax laughs at the sweater. Maybe not then, but we need to get to a place where the person,
Who's gifting it?
yes, is like in on the joke.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's like,
Agreed.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
It was doing a little bit too much.
I look like a Christmas tree. I was like, oh God, fucking Christ! I'm trying to think of another thing that's in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, we'll think of more
We'll
and
think
we'll
of
talk
more.
about it. But yeah, so that going back to Jessel, that's kind of my overall. Those are my overall notes.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page there.
I'm not writing it off. I just want to be fair and say that it's not landing for me, but I also don't think it's necessarily her fault completely.
Yeah, I agree. And then the cackling hags or cackling old hags.
Yeah, well, no, Jenna was the old hag.
Oh,
The other,
Oh my God.
The other two were just the
Cackling
cackling
hags.
hags.
It was
But it's
so
British.
Freudian. She's like,
my God.
no, it's British humor. I'm like, okay, we've already had one person who did that and explained British humor to us. We know what it is.
Yeah.
And we're not crutching on that.
We can't rest on our laurels on that one. Like,
No,
come on.
we cannot.
Bollocks. I'm like, okay.
Cheerio. Who the fuck says Cheerio?
Cheerio, darling.
chap.
I've worked with Brits before on Bravo shows, and I never heard them say Cheerio.
Or bollocks for that matter.
No, they would say bloody.
They would say bloody.
Yeah, I feel like that's more
or
of like a
twat.
stereotype
They
that
would
we
say-
see
yeah,
in
they would say twat.
in
Cunt.
the movies.
They would say cunt.
Well, she did say twat on this.
They said twat.
Bollocks, twat, and like what I don't forgot what else she said. But I did think it was funny when Erin in her confessional was like, "Oh, all right, you stupid bitch. That's just how we talk in New York." Stupid bitch. It's like, okay. I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, I'm not taking offense to
No,
it. I
of
think it's
course
so
not.
stupid.
Of
But like,
course.
of course, I did again the humor. I love when Uba was like, "What is a hag?" And no, it was a cackle, and they looked it up, and she's like, "Oh yeah, a witch. I don't want to be associated with the witch.
Witch.
Very witchy."
Uba just every time Uba opens her
Yeah,
mouth, I'm
Uba's
just like,
a
please
star.
more, please more,
Uba
more,
is
more,
a star. I need to see more of Uba.
Yeah.
I need to see more.
And you know
of
what?
Uba.
Authentic, baby. She is
is.
exactly,
All day.
Yeah.
exactly the same in every single scene she's in, and I fucking love her.
I also enjoyed her backstory last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
with her mentor, like, yeah.
Just gives us a little texture to these women who obviously we know nothing about. And
they don't know anything about each
I was
other.
going to say, I'd argue that the women are also watching the show to find out about each other.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, by the
Like,
way,
yes.
very
What are we
true.
going to find out this week about Uba that I
Yeah.
didn't know?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, even like, the very heavy stuff with Bryn at the beginning of the dinner, like I would say, just based on my feelings from what we've seen, that probably Bryn and Sai are probably the closest, maybe they've hung out the most
Yes.
of
Yeah.
the group
Yes.
as a whole.
I
would
pick up
say.
on that a lot.
I agree.
Yeah.
And even watching that dinner, and this isn't a great example because you can tell that Bryn doesn't necessarily like to talk about this kind of stuff and like her trauma and how she grew up. But even seeing that moment where all the women were like really, really like shocked and taken aback and like really in the moment with her, I thought was also really telling. But I'm happy as a viewer that we're finally starting to see the backstories of the women.
Same. And I like that they didn't ram it down our throats the first episode with just a bunch of intro packages.
Yeah.
I
Same.
do wish that we'd spent a little less time in the Hamptons.
So do I.
But now that we are on a roll in the last couple of episodes of really kind of digging into the backstories, it adds that texture, as you said, and it does make us connect with them more. It humanizes them. And they were chosen to be on this cast for a reason.
Right.
There were a lot of potentials. They have interesting backstories. They have interesting histories. They kind of they turn, it's a mosaic of different experiences that they're bringing to the table that do have some loose connections that they're maybe overselling a little bit, but I love seeing it.
Well, I think one thing that we're forgetting, and actually one of our listeners DM'd us a few weeks ago, and we were going to talk about it last week. And again, guys, I'm so sorry. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When I make a post to talk about what we're gonna talk about, something happens. Okay, and I'm so sorry about last week's episode. Obviously, you're listening to this now, so it is going to be up and out. But one of our listeners pointed out, and it completely just I just didn't think about it because I forgot. We had another cast member on the show who they filmed with
this
for
shocked me.
a few weeks, like almost a month, I want to say, before they left. We've seen in the past, or maybe viewers have not known this, but there have been people who have been cast on shows who actually make it all the way through and are either demoted or just simply not a part of the show, and they do cut around them. They're there incidentally, but they do cut around them, and it's worked. I don't know how they've done this because it almost seems like they started from the top again, fresh. You know what I mean?
No, I do.
Because the things that we've seen thus far are not things that you can cut around.
No, when you have a dinner of 5 people, 6 people sitting down, or you can't cut around one person. There's a wide shot. I forgot about that as well until you had brought it up, and
I'm curious how that is affecting.
I don't know.
Maybe Jessel knew that person. You know what I mean? Like
maybe they were connected.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point. It really is. I don't know how they cut around her. Maybe there are some personal scenes from those weeks.
Yeah, that's true, because the first couple of weeks are kind of spent getting your bearings, really trying to figure out what story is, where you're going from there. It's a little slower when we are getting right into it in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Trust us, because I don't want to speak for Eves, but when the first week is always like,
What do we have?
what do we have?
Doing?
We have no story. We're like, we freak out because we're like, what's going on? Even though we know, it just takes a second to get settled in.
Yeah.
And it happens to all of us, and it happens every fucking time.
And that happens with established casts when you get back into a season and pick back up. Like the first week is always like, it's always just kind of getting your bearings. Some of them haven't finished signing their contracts, so some may be filming, some may not be. Like it runs the gamut. It could be a very seasoned, long-standing show, but add a layer of it being a brand new show with a brand new cast. Yeah, the first few weeks were definitely probably getting into it. And look, a post probably worked wonders, because I know that person was there for it wasn't like she was only there for a week and then
Exactly.
left. She was there for probably a month.
Yeah, which is a lot of footage.
It's a lot.
And to be clear, our listener who DM'd us about that, they were pontificating that the catch dinner was on camera.
Oh.
Which is why it became a story point on the show, but we don't see it.
That's interesting.
And that's why it was a point of contention with like why, so-and-so didn't go to catch, because Britain would be caught dead being seen in a place that was 2012.
Honestly, I would hope that was true. That's why we didn't get to see that.
Well, I do think that that is a very strong theory.
I think it's a good possibility.
Yeah.
I think we had pontificated that it was maybe one of those before the season started, getting to know each other so you don't go into the season feeling like
that's
y'all
what I
are not
definitely
connected.
thought.
But forgetting about that piece, I think that that's very highly plausible. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why they bleep it out, because something tells me they got a trade out, maybe.
Maybe. But Erin, didn't she come out and confirm that it's catch?
Yeah, but not on the show.
No.
Yeah.
Outside of the
Oh,
show.
yeah.
She
I do.
recently.
Yeah, but we were trying to figure out why they would bleep that.
Right,
Also
right.
true. Yeah.
There's still left
There's just
still
some
things
interesting. Yeah.
Little
to uncover.
Easter eggs out there.
Yeah.
You got to find them.
So we pick back up at Bryn's giving.
Friendsgiving.
Now, I don't want to be negative, but again, can we please put up a trigger warning?
Before?
Here's what I'm going to say about that. Does it have to be in your face, a slate that says trigger warning? No, but I think it could be at the top of the corner where it tells you like what's to be expected in this episode. Content may contain acts of violence, sexual assault, foul language, whatever it may be. I appreciate the slate after that tells the audience, if you or anybody that you know who is suffering from X, Y, and Z, whatever. It doesn't help for those who are triggered to be at the end.
No.
It needs to be at the top.
Correct. It defeats all purpose.
Well, yeah, because, and again, speaking for myself, I have experienced suicidal ideation, and it's like that can be triggering. Was it triggering for me? No, but the trigger warning is not for me. It's for other people. And it's like, it's also talking about childhood suicidal ideation.
Yeah.
That is a totally different fucking thing than adult. It's the same, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that was heavy and just kind of, and yes, we were talking about a heavy topic, but it came out of nowhere.
Well, yeah. And if it not for adults to see that there's a warning that's going to be there, at least have it be for parents who have children who suffer from depression, please.
And and maybe in the household while their parents are watching the show. Like,
well, yeah, because you don't want to, children are so malleable. You don't want a kid to get an idea that they can drink Dimetap, which is cough medicine, and harm themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not putting the onus on the network. It's okay to talk about these stories. I just think that it would be helpful.
Well, it's not responsible. I don't think
Thank
it's
you. I think it's kind of
responsible.
reckless. And please.
Yeah, you don't, just because it might not affect you doesn't mean that it's not going to not affect anybody.
Right.
So I think it's just, to me, it's irresponsible, and it's just such an easy, I just don't get it, and I don't work in this type of space, but like it's just such an easy thing to do. And I do know that Peacock, it streams right into the next episode, but you put it at the beginning of the episode. It isn't this airing on Bravo? Okay, then put it at the very beginning, just like you would any other scripted, non-scripted show. This may include X, Y, and Z,
Correct.
and then have it there, because I'll tell you what happened is you watch the scene and it's really heavy and it's really impactful, and then they start talking about something else. I can't even remember what it was, but it was, maybe it was the hags thing, and everyone's laughing and making fun, and it's funny and it's light again, and then after you forgot that Bryn said anything, it goes to commercial. It's like, if you have suicidal thoughts, I'm like, wait, what? It's like, I'm not trying to make a joke
totally
of it,
backwards.
but the scene went on for like 10 minutes, and she brings us up at the beginning of the scene, and it goes on so long that when they showed that flash, I was like, that's right. Brent. It just, I thought it was not the way to handle that kind of stuff. And to me, it just seems like such an easy thing to fix.
Yeah. And it's something that's so simple that for those who don't need it, aren't going to pay attention and don't care, and it's going to be a flash in the pan and whatever.
But it's not for those who don't
exactly.
need it.
But for those, I know, but for those who do need it, it is important.
Yes, absolutely.
And I wonder if it's because of the way that they stack the episodes, because on broadcast they go right into it without really without doing title cards and all that shit, that I don't know. I'm not trying to say that they're like, it's ruining the visuals, but because they slide in, it will abruptly, I mean, it won't be seamless.
Right.
That's okay.
But I don't give a fuck about that.
I don't care either. When something occurs when there's content that warrants some sort of slate, which is part of standards and practices, like legal, and this probably does speak to whatever the protocol is for network broadcast and anything that's legal or that falls into the legal department, because that's something that, like, the lawyers always review the footage. They tell you have to take this out, you have to put this, you have to do that. Like, this is a totally different show, but I think of like Leah Remini's Scientology in the Aftermath, and before and after every commercial break, they have to air a slate that Scientology has nothing to do with X, Y, or Z, and they've denied any claims. It's a legal thing. The protocol, if that's what this is, should change. It should be at the top and at the tail, because it's at the end of Act 1. It's literally 8 minutes in that you're getting that, and by then the moment has so far passed.
Yeah.
I just think that it's so easy. We see it in scripted shows, and I think it could be the exact same.
Yeah.
Even if we're talking about things like it doesn't always have to be depression or sexual assault. If we're talking about racial inequality, or we're talking about things that cast members have said that are racist or prejudice, that's also triggering for people, because it just is, damn it. It's just fucking triggering for everybody. I mean, I remember watching Dallas being kind of triggered that Leanne Loughlin was like, that's so Mexican, that's Mexican. And I was like, oh, fucking Christ.
I remember that, yeah.
I have fucking thick skin, but I was like, God.
Yeah.
It's okay to show it, because we should be showing it all.
Yes.
But allow us to know that, like, something might come, and it might hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Or it might be triggering,
Right.
And it's
it might have an effect.
Just err on the side of caution.
And it just needs to be right there in the corner. Just put it up in the corner. Like Apple and Netflix will tell me that flashing lights may cause me to
have a seizure.
to seize.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm proud of them for doing that, because I'm proud. Sorry, it's a weird thing to say. I got really happy when I saw it for the first time, because it has an effect on my eyes. Yeah. And so I'll know. And so then I
to expect it.
I know what to expect it. So I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And so then I'll like turn the brightness down or something.
Yeah.
Being on an airplane and seeing the fasten your seatbelt, it tells you, okay, there might be some turbulence coming. Give, maybe that's not the best comp, but just give a warning for, for you to have an idea of what's to come.
Yeah. This isn't about, being like political or anything like that. It's just, give us a fucking warning, for Christ all fucking mighty. It's not that hard. And if they don't know, I hope they're listening and they know now. Let's start doing trigger warnings at the top of episodes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, anyway, all of that to be said, we find out that Bryn really struggled as a child. And guys, infant neglect, even if you're not going to remember it, because you're not going to have that memory, the body remembers.
Totally.
We've said that time and time again. And I really feel for her.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking down on my notes because I'm not trying to make light of this, but just because I can't help it. We're coming off the heels of Bryn talking about her childhood trauma, her dad resurfacing in high school, and he resurfaced and then passed away. And like, what the fuck do you do with that? Because guys, that's a fucking lot. When you go no contact with your parents and then they come back in that way, you can't help but feel guilt. And you can't help but feel like, oh God, they're dying. And now it's just all of this,
I feel a pressure to forgive because what else am I supposed to do?
Exactly. Even if you don't want to, you feel like you should.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see all of the women just really coming together. And then Jessel, because, so many people would have let that fail them. But you didn't.
God.
Scene.
And scene.
Thank you. That diamond tap. You didn't let that fail you. She's just so like, what's the word for it?
Is it tone deaf or is it out of touch? It's just like
well, she's definitely out of touch.
Definitely out of touch.
I don't know.
I just think she's awkward. And listen, here's the deal. It's the same thing with talking to Erin about her grandmother and having the service. Talking about stuff like this is hard for people. People get very awkward, whether you're close friends with someone or whether you're a peer. Hearing this kind of stuff on what Bryn is talking about is kind of hard to hear. Sometimes, I'm trauma, trauma trained. So like, I can hear this kind of stuff and I can sit with it. I don't feel the need to speak on everything. I can kind of let Bryn lead the conversation. I think people that get very uncomfortable with topics like this, they don't really know what to say, but they don't want to not say anything because then what does that look like? So instead of just kind of like letting what everyone else did, which just didn't say much, she was just like, yeah, you succeeded. Look at you. You're sitting here. You're brave. You didn't let it fail you. And like, she's trying to like, cadotes, hoorah, you go girl. But like, it's also like, you don't always have to say something in moments like this.
Right.
And I think she's awkward and she speaks up because she doesn't know what to say.
That's so unfortunate, but I'm glad sitting shiver went well for you. I'm like, fucking Christ.
Oh, God.
Like,
yeah, it turns into a little bit of word salad.
No, it turns into like, oh, I'm so glad the event went well. Like it's in a celebratory thing.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think she does feel awkward. I'm not chastising her. I'm
like, Jesus Christ, Jessel.
Yeah. It's like, I remember.
Nobody likes the holidays. That's another thing she said.
Oh my God, that's right.
Oh, well, no, I think what she said is the holidays are tough for a lot of people. That was the thing that she said. I think right after Bryn expressed that her dad passed away, I think like November 12th or whatever. Yeah. Obviously sometime around Thanksgiving.
I remember experiencing a bout of depression and, shocked no one. I had to go on antidepressants because I got to the point of suicidal ideation and I was like, okay, I'm at the point where I know what's happening, but I'm afraid I'm going to get to the day where I'm going, I can't control that.
Yeah.
So I got on antidepressants and I started to feel better almost immediately. And I got to a place where I was like, okay, now I can kind of explain to my friends who probably are wondering where I've been and like why I haven't really gone out or I've been a little removed, what's going on. And I explained to one of my friends what had been going on and that I went on antidepressants and not apologizing, but acknowledging and taking accountability for my own mental health. And, the response meant well, but the response was, you used to go on hikes all the time and you don't do that anymore. I think you should do that more. And it's very like that, where it's I know you mean well.
Right.
But
it's just
telling me
like,
well, yeah, because here's the thing. It's not doing the hike that's the problem. It's that I can't fucking get out of bed to even go on the hike,
To put your tennis shoes on.
Yeah, like I can't even get out of bed to brush my teeth or shower.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's just
they mean well. You just have to laugh because it's just like, okay, I got it.
Yeah. Well, and in those situations, a lot of times it's because they don't have a lot of experience.
Of course.
Right. And so I just wish, because it lives in a place of discomfort. I'm like, oh, I feel awkward. I need to say something because we're having a conversation. But sometimes in those moments, the best thing you can do is really just listen.
Just listen.
Yeah.
They don't need you to be their therapist. They don't need you to give them a bunch of ideas. Oh, well, when I had a day of sadness, what I did is I went to the movies. You should go to the movies. It's just like not everything works for the same person. So
and not everything needs to be solutionized.
Yeah, just listening and being there. Just show up.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's
just
enough.
show up and show out.
Bitch.
Speaking of showing up or actually not showing up and not showing out, Jessel then invites everybody to a cocktail event at her apartment.
I can't go, and my name is Jenna.
I can't go, and I don't remember why.
I have an event or something. I don't quite remember, but I know I can't be there.
Did you hear how quickly? It's Thursday. Oh, I won't be able to go.
By the way, I laughed so
one sentence.
hard. I laughed so fucking hard. Very much in the same way when a cast member, you can tell they've scripted something they want to say, and they say it so quick without any breath or pause. You're like, all right.
Oh, you had that one teed up. That was on deck.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
But no one pushes. No one questions her. I mean,
why not?
They do after later separately. Brandon talks about it, but
here's the thing: if they're not questioning her, then when she says that she doesn't remember why she can't be there, but she just knows she can't go,
right.
Why are we judging the reason why she's not there after the fact? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
To me, this is more of a judgeable offense than actually finding out why she's not there.
By the way, I agree.
You know what I mean?
But there is this air of it's Jenna Lyons, and they're all kind of.
I don't understand that though.
I don't get it
They're
either.
putting her pissy on the pedestal.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I know, and she's not. She's not asking for it.
She's so quiet and like just there. I'm like, why are we putting her pissy on a pedestal? You know, like what's the fucking deal?
Yeah.
They don't need to do that.
They don't.
I don't think that. I mean, unless there's something I'm missing in the nuance or behind the scenes, she's not appearing to me as though she's better. Or
no,
that
I don't think. I think that
No.
they think that, but that's a reflection on them. I don't think she's giving off that energy. I think that they just feel like she's the top dog, you know.
Right, which is so funny because she's the least connected to the group.
But that's
also part of
she's
it.
really well known in New York and everywhere else. You know, I mean, I just think that they do put her on a pedestal.
Yeah, but
They
that
do.
you're right.
Big
That would have been a
time.
moment. Like,
Yeah,
wait a
that's-
second. You don't know what it is, but you got something. Like that.
Because that's a very Ramona thing to do.
Yes.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
And Ramona doesn't give a fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the event? Where is it? Am I on the guest list? Am I going?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That, like, it's just, I don't know. I thought it was really
I
funny.
thought it was funny. And to me, someone like an Erin would have been the perfect one to be like, in jest, like, I'm sorry, you don't know what you have, but you know you have something. Like, what the...
I'm going to be sick next week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. It's kind of it's absurd.
But they look at her as like, there's part of me that I think that they look at this experience like, oh, we're glad that she's with us. So we're not going to, you're saying you have an event and you're telling us you're not sure what it is. That means you have so much shit going on. You are the one that is so popular. We're not going to ask you what you're doing because you can't even remember yourself.
It's like, it's like the equivalent to just being happy to be invited to the party.
Yeah.
Or being happy to be nominated.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love my
Which is so
nominees.
weird.
I'm just happy to be here.
But they are. That's like a projection thing because they're putting it on her. And
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
it's not her. Like she, I don't think.
and
she
some
gives
of
a
it I
fuck.
think is in jest. Like when Sai does it, I think Sai is fucking joking. Like I think that she
Yeah.
to me is, and I think for the most part, most of them are. But in that moment, I just think it's interesting that no one
says anything. They don't call it out.
No. And then we have to talk about the Hamptons again because we didn't see it for 3 episodes. We have to talk about how Jessel seemed miserable, to which Jessel's like, no, I wasn't. Well, I wasn't miserable. And then they flash to the car scene where she's like, I'm miserable. I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to go home and see my children. I haven't seen my children in days. And who points out that she was so excited to go home, but then she went
Bryn.
out?
But then she went to work. It was Bryn,
was
right?
Bryn.
Yeah. I
Bryn-
believe it's a Bryn.
Yeah,
Love it.
Bryn said that, oh, well, yeah, I texted you once we all got home because I was worried because you were just so adamant about getting home and seeing your children. And you told me that you were out with friends. No, that was the next day. That was the day before. And then Bryn goes, no. It was the day of. And she goes, oh, okay. I was working. And then, we get that.
You work?
You work?
You
I forgot.
work?
My name is Jessel. My name is Erin. What do you do for a living?
Like, what's the fucking deal? She seemed miserable. Is that not obvious to everyone?
She absolutely seemed miserable. She was griping she was griping the entire time. Mm-hmm. Why not own it?
Listen, not having heat and not having the internet, I give it to you, Jessel. I would be annoyed too, but it was incessant. It went on all the time.
I mean, this is an objective reality and subjective perception. I can support Jessel in saying that maybe she really felt like the way she was coming off, that's not what misery is to her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
You know what I can speak from experience. I think sometimes people make a judgment, or they might think that I'm kind of bitchy. And it's not that I change myself for others, but I can understand that and go, oh, you know what, let me just adjust a little bit because that's not really how I am. That's not really what I'm thinking. So instead of allowing people to put pen to paper on my narrative, let me just adjust a little bit. Not changing who I am. I am who I am to my core. But maybe just taking a step back and maybe understanding why that perception is there instead of just defending it at all costs.
Yeah.
Because we already see it with the scene with Pavitt in last episode where he's being honest with her and says like, hey, there are times where you can come off a little, and then he goes like, what's the word for it? And he's taking his time to delicately try to explain to her what they may be thinking without necessarily just siding with them and saying that they're right.
Right.
And why? Because I'm a bitch. Like she won't.
She jumps on him.
She jumps to a conclusion.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have used bitch. I don't think Pavitt was going to use bitch, but then she goes there. And that leads me to believe that she has a complex about that.
Yeah.
So if we have a complex about it, then we know that it's a problem. And I'm not saying that Jessel needs to change who she is, but if there's a pattern, I think we need to start being a little bit more introspective. No? I mean...
Yeah, I think that doing a little self-reflection, and especially when people are responding to you a certain way, that's a moment to take a beat, take a look in the mirror, and maybe try to understand where they're coming from or what they're seeing. If you in your core do not believe that that's that's not how you're feeling,
Yeah.
then, I think that's just all of our kind of responsibilities as adults in any sort of relationship, friendship, romantic or otherwise, like to do checks on ourselves.
I mean, I just said it best. I took the responsibility to tell my friends what had been going on because I didn't want them to jump to a conclusion or think that something, that they had done something.
Right.
Yeah.
Or that you were blowing them off. Or,
Yeah, because I know that could easily be seen as that, and I don't want that out there for myself or for them, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
Jessel is still learning that.
Yeah, I mean...
Bravo, fucking bravo. Learning that
Are you
lesson.
okay over
I
there?
can't speak today.
Yeah. Earlier you said something and it sounded like you queefed.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wait, no. Hold on. Like a mouth, like have you ever had a mouth queef?
I think.
I think, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
bravo.
Okay. Hold
bravo.
on. Before we get into the next thing, let me just explain myself. When I got veneers, they added a little length to my teeth. And so, and it's not that big of an adjustment, but I would like mouth queef on accident. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, God. Just fast forward. Woo.
And that's the episode.
It may have been a little close to the pop filter on the mic, so there may have been a little sound effect.
I'm sorry for calling you out. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Hey, look, we're all here to hold
Well, if
each
I
other
have to mouth
accountable.
queef, I have to call it out for you too.
There you go.
Next, we get Cy at home working,
Oh,
which
yeah.
Yeah.
loved.
Love that.
Yeah.
Evergreen, right?
Yeah, total
it was
evergreen
totally
scene.
evergreen. Could live anywhere, but it was so nice, like as Betsy said earlier, to kind of get a little bit more texture and some more layer to what she actually does instead of the assumption, because again, people think influencers is a catch-all for everything.
Right.
And I know I am going to get buried alive for this statement, but not all influencers are created equal. And influencing is very fucking hard.
Yeah.
I am sorry, it is.
It absolutely is.
And
I'm
we're
with
not
you.
talking about the fib fat fun. Okay. We're talking about an influencer like Cy is. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that type of influencing is totally different. With influencers, you don't necessarily need millions of followers to be successful. The type of influencing that she does is a honed in demo. It's looks, it's wealth, it's all of these things, but her followers are a little bit smaller, but she still makes a lot of money, probably even more so or equal to somebody who had like 3 or 4 million followers.
Which makes sense. Like that alpha consumer type of target audience.
I'm living for that Versace robe,
Oh, yeah.
the heels. I was excited. I love when people open up boxes.
And the shoes and all of that.
And it was fun seeing her work with her assistants. And it was just nice seeing somebody with assistants, unlike other people and other housewives that we've seen, where the assistants seem like they're, white knuckling and they have to like the person that they work for.
Yeah.
These assistants actually looked like they were excited and they
They
liked working with Cy,
enjoyed.
you know?
Yeah.
And
There was joy behind their eyes. It was not just like,
Oh, yeah.
I am trying to fake it and I want to get the fuck out of
And
here.
it didn't feel like paid friends either.
It also did not feel like paid friends. And it
We've
was
seen
also really, I mean, we heard, we got some backstory on Cy in the last few weeks in terms of her childhood. but also kind of understanding that she studied biology, she learned to code, and that's how she created her blog, which is what dovetailed
that was
into
cool.
this. I was like, that was really interesting to find
fucking
out.
cool.
That's awesome.
Coding is hard.
Yeah,
I read a
it
whole thing
is.
on coding, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with
I
it.
tried to learn
really?
to code once, and it was short lived.
Yeah, I feel like I would not be good at that.
How short-lived?
I don't know. I have ADD, so everything is short lived.
She's like a few minutes.
I mean, and then I thought Carly Kloss. I was like, did she take Carly Kloss's coding class? Coding with Carly?
Coding
Coding with Carly?
Oh.
Yeah.
But coding with a K, right?
Yeah, so it is. It's
Yeah.
coding with a K.
Yes.
I thought that was really fucking fascinating.
I thought it was so cool. so
This woman
cool.
is a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
She really is. There's so much to Sai that I'm very excited and encouraged, like, to want to know more.
Same.
And she's funny. She's funny
Yes,
with the women.
She is.
I really, really like her. And I was happy to see kind of, I mean, it means nothing to me because I don't know anything about fashion. But I will tell you, Lauren was like, oh my God, look at those shoes. So you were pumped
I was
the entire time.
pumped.
I just liked seeing, just a little bit more context on like what she actually does. Because the 6 suitcases to Hamptons, I was like, I need to know more about what's going on here. But
And those
she's a
designers sent her those
hard
things,
working
wild.
woman.
which is expensive stuff.
That's a
So
yeah.
what I remember, I believe, from when Andy had all the women on Watch What Happens Live, and this was after the first episode. One of the questions was, who, which like, come on, so whatever, but who makes the most money? Who's the richest? And I don't know if Andy asked this or if this was an audience question, but whatever. But all of the women were like, it's either Jenna or Sai. It's either or. So she obviously does very well. And I don't know what the husband does, but she obviously.
See, I'd argue that it's Aaron.
Well, I'm just letting you know what the women said. The women all said Jenna, and then they were like, oh, or Sai. So.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
But they don't know each other, so they're still getting to know each other.
They're still sorting it out.
Well, from what I can tell, I would probably, like, currently actually bringing in an income as we speak, I would say probably Aaron and Sai.
Yeah.
It's not to say that Jenna doesn't have that money, but I don't, because she's not like retired, but she's more of like a consultant. Remember, with like interior design, which is $1,500 a fucking hour,
Oh my
guys.
God, I found Jenna Lyons on, there's a site that I didn't know about called theexpert.com.
Yeah.
And it's experts in their fields. Like you can basically kind of sign up for or buy consultations with. And Jenna does like a variety of different things, but one of them was like interior decorating, which looking at her place, I'm like, yes, please.
She kind of just like helps you.
Yeah.
Like, what should I put here on the wall? You know what? I think a good piece would be whatever. It's like $1,500 an hour.
Yeah.
So an hour is not enough. You need like time. So we know that she has that.
Yep.
I mean, Jenna is very successful. I just don't know what she's currently doing right this second.
Well, and maybe I'm getting confused because maybe she was one that had the most celebrities in her phone.
Oh, that's Jenna.
Oh, let me just
that's
let me
definitely
strike it from the record and let me just say that one of the women absolutely was Sai, where they were like, "Oh, is this person or it's Sai?" So maybe it was Aaron and Sai. But obviously, Sai's doing well. She's bringing it in.
Sai's-
She's bringing it
Sai's
in.
okay. I think
Sai's doing well. Sai's husband is doing real well.
Ooh, that brownstone baby.
He
The
is
both of
retired
them.
and
They're both of them are very successful.
yeah.
And it's seen in that brownstone because I'm obsessed.
I love
that
place.
brownstone.
No shoes.
I would even
baby.
consider living in Brooklyn for that brownstone.
No shoes, no service. Take your shoes.
Sorry, Brooklynites.
Yeah, you need to stop it with that because we're gonna lose listeners. And I like Brooklyn, but to be fair, I'm in Manhattan, girl. I call it the city. but-
I was born in, more or less born and raised in Manhattan. So I will admit my own
She's a snob,
bias.
and it's okay.
I'm a
guys.
snob. I am a
Okay,
snob.
it's
I will
okay.
admit it. I am a snob about it, and I should rethink that.
That's okay.
You're like Luann. When they were talking about going downtown, Luann would be like, "Oh no, I don't go anywhere lower than what would it be?
23rd, probably.
There it is. Yeah, I don't go anywhere
I will go lower
than
than
23rd.
23rd. Just for the record, I will go almost anywhere on the island of Manhattan.
And she used to say like, "Oh, she's a downtown girl." 'Cause it was- by the way, you know who it was? It was the person that came in to replace Bethany in season, I think 6 or something. I can't remember what her
Heather?
name. No, it was the chick who had the twins. You always forget who she is. The bangs. She was a fill-in for Bethany. The listeners will know who it is. It was somebody.
yeah,
it was like a person that was cast to replace Bethany, or that character. She only was on one season. She's like, "Oh, she's a downtown girl."
So maybe Luann wouldn't know that Tribeca is the most expensive neighborhood since it's downtown.
Oh, there you go.
We're at the worst coffee date known to mankind.
Oh my God. Like,
Which
seriously.
None of us knew why they were meeting up, but we soon come to find out that Jessel wants to clear the air. She felt things were a little awkward when they were at Bryn's giving. And, well, it kind of goes downhill from there.
Yeah, well, it didn't get any less awkward at the coffee date, I'll tell you that much.
You know, we're reminded in the flash that, and we talked about it earlier, that Jessel was a little awkward when approaching Erin at Bryn's giving. And Erin just is telling her, like, hey, my grandmother passed away. And even in that moment, Jessel's like, well, I didn't know. She's very on the defense, like almost as if she thinks that she's going to get, you know, quote, in trouble for not knowing. Like,
Right.
Erin's not expecting her to know that. She's telling her now.
Yeah.
Right, but there's I think an expectation, understandably so, that like if I tell you or if you find out that there was a passing of someone close to me, then or close to Erin as the case may be, that, you know, oh my God, I'm so sorry. How are you doing? Not what did she say? Oh, well, I hope it was. I hope it went well. I hope it went well. Oh, I was like, wait, what?
Well, it didn't go well because the woman passed away. She died.
Yeah.
Shall I tell the story? Can I tell the story?
Yeah.
Please,
Okay, guys.
please do.
Okay, just
It's
I
one
know.
of my favorite stories, even though it
Let
lives
me-
in sadness.
Oh God. I hope it went well. All right. I was driving to Santa Monica to my office job, working on a show for VH1, and those drives are very long. My mom called me, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm driving to work." She's like, "Okay. Well, your uncle's really sick." And I go, "Oh God, like what happened? What's going on?" He died.
I mean,
I literally I was like we went from he's not doing well to, and I go, oh my God, what's wrong? He died.
I mean, it's just so absurd. It's just so
Oh my
fucking
God.
absurd.
Those are the moments that you have to laugh.
You
and
have-
like,
yeah.
What the
you
fuck
just
else are you supposed to do?
think, what?
He's
That's
not
how
doing
that's
well.
how I was told my uncle died.
It was fast. He's dead. I was like,
Died.
He's not doing well. It went quick.
And by the way, can we wait.
By the time I started this call, it was rough. Now he's gone.
Can we talk about how she was concerned of where I was? Was I sitting down? I mean, she didn't say that, but that's kind of essentially what she was
the
getting at. Like,
implication.
where are you?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
at
yeah,
work?
yeah,
Are you in public? Because I have some, you know, horrible news to share with you.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no. I'm in my car. What's going on? Tell me. He died. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
I mean, you could
Well,
have
you have to
swerved
laugh.
into another lane.
Yeah, by the way, of all the places to maybe receive like
News,
what could
bad
be
news.
you're sitting down, sure, behind the moving vehicle.
Yeah.
I'd argue she
Yeah.
wanted to tell me regardless of where I was, but asking
Yeah.
that was trying to,
It's a formality of sorts.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Well,
Yeah. So I felt that.
Yeah, that was
It's
visceral.
unfortunate, but I'm glad it went well.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Went went really well.
So they're trying to clear the air.
This coffee date is just, it is, goes from bad to worse.
I mean, it goes off the rails on a crazy train. Okay. I think that Jessel feels misunderstood. She thought it was a little awkward. She's trying to clear the air and she wants to quickly say, like, are we okay? But Erin's like, well, you brought me here and we'll know things are not okay because.
Yeah. Erin was confused. She's like, I don't know why I'm here, other than living in the neighborhood. Because she's like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Well, then Erin goes on to tell her, like, she's a little confused because what she's essentially saying is like Jessel's actions don't match her words and vice versa, right?
Yeah, like she'll seem fine, but then something will shift, you know, bringing up the Hamptons and that she just doesn't quite understand Jessel sometimes. And I think that Erin is, you know, I think she's doing a good job of trying to really just kind of lay the cards on the table of how she's perceiving and how she feels.
Felt the whole trip.
Yeah. And Jessel just, you know, look, I don't think it's easy to say to anyone, like, you know, maybe I wasn't catering to you in the same way that maybe you're used to. And she does like caveat that and preface that with, you know, please tell me if I'm off base here, but this is how I'm receiving it, or maybe how I'm reading things.
She also makes it clear that if it is that, what she's pontificating, there's nothing wrong with wanting things to be a certain way on a trip, catering, etc. They are all getting to know each other. That's why, to what I'm seeing in my understanding, why Erin is not saying, well, you like things a certain way, so you were being rude. She's like,
Right.
look, essentially, we're getting to know each other. If that's what it is, I'm learning that, and now I'm knowing, and that's okay. But there really isn't any explanation. She wants to know if that's what it is.
So I'm a princess?
And it don't work, apparently. And that's where I got lost.
That's where it got.
I don't know.
Off on the rails.
When did they talk about her not working?
It was confusing because there's nothing to flash to. It obviously was something that happened off camera, or it was just in passing. Jessel had never, according to Erin, mentioned that she had gone back to work. But Jessel gets very defensive very quickly.
I think it had to have been off camera because even if it was something so minute, they would have flashed to it. Since we're having to talk about this for multiple scenes,
I mean,
we're not
ridiculous.
working, and
Erin just goes on to explain. Well, you were just saying that you were telling us that you just had the twins and you're taking time, so I didn't know that you were working. Erin is coming from a place of pragmatism, like physically going to work and explaining that she didn't know that.
Right.
And Jessel is taking a creative liberty and perceiving it as she's a she's just
Just a frivolous stay-at-home
yeah,
mom
like
now.
she's taking it with frivolity.
Yeah.
And Erin's just being very like pragmatic, like, oh, you had the kids, so you were taking time off work, so I just didn't know that you went back.
Right.
Yeah.
We as the viewers also have not seen that yet either. So it's like none of us knew that she had gone back to work.
But she's very defensive, and it even then takes a weird spin to the
Women
I support
empowerment?
women who work, and Erin rightfully so. As I would probably think and or say the same thing if I was in her position. Like, whoa, when did this become about like me not supporting women? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it goes from princess to you don't think I work to you don't support women. I was like, wait, you deduced all of that just because Erin is saying to you that you told her that you weren't working because you were taking time. Like, you did do that. You did take time off when you had the kids, and that's the state that you've been in. That's the state of the union. How am I supposed to know that you went back to work if you don't say that you've gone back to work? And then now you are translating that to frivolity and you don't work and you're not as important.
I just don't even remember at all. And granted, I don't remember the first episode that well, but like, I don't even remember Jessel at all saying, "Oh, I'm taking time off of work." I don't remember anything.
No.
Well, as far as I know, I don't even know what she does. All I know is that she worked in fashion, but I don't even remember her making a statement like, "Well, I had the kids right now. I'm not working right now." Like, I feel like we don't know any of that. And
Well,
so
that's what
then
I'm saying. We
to
know nothing
flash-
about her.
But then to flash this, where it's like, well, but like Erin saying, well, you told me that you were taking time off. We don't even have that context. None of this seems
None
to
of
have
this
lived
makes
on the
sense.
show. So I don't. It just gets too convoluted and it's very silly. And obviously, I think Erin, in defense to her, I don't think she's meaning it judgmentally.
not
like
at
she's just
all.
like,
She isn't.
this is what I thought you told me. But I think because Jessel has such insecurity and
Yes.
she's so focused on her image
Princess,
and what she's
bitch. Like,
what
it's like,
she's-
what she said.
yeah, she needs to be the perceived perfect housewife. And by you saying that I'm not working, no, I don't like that. Otherwise, this would be such an easy scene for her to have been like, oh no, I'm working. Yeah,
I actually restarted again.
if I told you that, like that was a while ago, I've been working, no big deal. But instead, it's you don't support women, and I am working. You know what? Oh, it's work call.
I have a consultancy. I worked
By the
for
way,
Michael
I'm
Kors.
surprised that she didn't do that.
Well,
That would have been the icing on the cake. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it wasn't a work call, but at the end of the little coffee date, she picks up her phone. And she's like, "Oh, I've got to get to work." And
Oh my
I
God,
I got to take off my face.
forgot
I got
that.
to take off my face, and then I got to get to work. Remember, I'm a working girl or something.
Oh
It's
my
just like,
God.
oh my god,
Christ.
Jesus.
And even Erin's like, "Oh, you work?" Just to kind of like, honestly, Erin, thank you for a little comedy there. Because
Erin got points this scene.
You know,
Yeah,
but you know that
Erin-
she'll never live it down because Erin had to be like, "I'm kidding, and like so many times that she's like, "Oh,
Oh my
god."
God. It's so true.
I'm going to go on a limb here. I need to know more about her family dynamic because something tells me that.
Jessel?
Yeah, because something tells me maybe perhaps she was heavily criticized or maybe, she had to adhere to a certain type of
Regiment or like,
success
yeah.
or version of whatever it may
Well-
be because this is so odd. I mean,
It's so weird.
she is very defensive. She's defensive with Pavitt. She's defensive with Erin. You cannot have a conversation with her. I'm
No.
sorry. I would feel trepidation every fucking time I would talk to her because anything that you say could be used against you in a fucking court of law. Read me my fucking Miranda rights.
Yeah.
Like every time you talk to Jessel, please read me my Miranda rights.
Well, and then I know we'll get to this, but at the event at the end of the episode, she then starts talking about having made it from nothing, but they're all like,
I'm done.
Didn't you go to private school? Like, there's a lot of weird shit with
Okay.
Jessel. I don't know.
I have a question, and I'm not remembering this if it happened. When she invites the women to the event, does she explain to them what the event is?
Yes, she gives
Sort of, yeah.
she gives an overview that it's some I don't remember exactly how she positions the fashion part of it, but that it also is a charity for building a school in India, I believe.
Okay. So this event, I think, is a killing two birds with one stone. I do think that it's a consultancy thing, but it's also a philanthropic thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's very clear. So even with that context, I don't think that Erin is understanding that as work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. She just thinks she's throwing a charity event. Yeah, I agree.
She's mad.
How pissed is Erin that the first thing that Jessel says when she sits down is, "So you coming? So you coming on Thursday?"
She was hoping she wasn't asking.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally gritting her teeth.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. Yikes.
Yikes. That scene was a yikes.
Yikes. But she has to leave, guys, because she has to take her face off.
She's got to take off
And
that
then
face
work.
and go to work.
Well, she also said that she was dolled up because she came from an event. What event?
Seriously.
I'm pretty positive that hair and makeup was
Her confessional.
Well, exactly. What I was going to say is, I think that hair and makeup was what we saw in the round robin of her and the kids, I think, decorating the Christmas tree or like taking photos.
It was a family photo shoot, probably a Christmas shoot.
Which is fine. There's no harm, no foul that she isn't explaining that. That is a continuity show thing. But I mean, there's so many vagaries with her that when anybody asks a question, she's defensive. And I just don't understand. Like, no one knows that the kids are searching for Montessori. No one knows that she's really going back to work full time. The only thing we know about her is that her and her husband just haven't had a lot of sex lately. And that's only incidentally do we know that. I don't understand why everyone's being nailed to the cross for trying to get to know her better. And that's what this fucking show is about. I'm sorry.
Literally what it is.
And you're the person that they know the least, in my humble opinion.
It's clear.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's the
apparent.
fucking problem? What's
It's a
the
good
issue?
question. It's a good question.
What's the issue?
I have another question for you.
Sure.
For you, Lauren, specifically. How
I forgot. I'm
You're out
Lauren.
there.
Yeah.
How excited were you to watch that scene going through Jenna's closet?
I mean, is water wet?
Exactly. Is the sky blue?
I will. Here's the thing. I know that it probably wastes time. I don't care. I will take a Jenna Lyons closet scene any day, all day. Any day, all day.
all day.
Yeah, I will.
I was having fun with that one too. What about you, Beth?
Oh, I don't care about the clothes, but I like her individually. Like I liked that interaction with her friend.
Yeah.
Well, the friend was like,
Heather, I think
Sell
is her
it.
name.
I love how the
Sell it.
friend was giving her the illusion that there was choice. But every time Jenna said where she wore this, and it was the outfits became more important as the events, like
More iconic.
Yeah.
yes, more
Like,
iconic
yeah.
because of where she wore them or how she got them. Sell it.
Sell it.
And I was like, I gave birth in this. Sell it.
Yeah, I love that was fun.
I'm pretty sure you were like, no, don't sell, don't sell, don't
Yeah,
sell
well,
it.
one of them I was.
sell
Some
it
of this
to
I was.
sell it to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Michelle
wants them
Obama threw up on me. Sell it.
Yeah,
It's like it was just funny.
she wants them to live that second life. That could
right.
be with you.
Yeah, they can. They're too expensive.
Well, maybe you could do like one of those things when people are bidding on a house, but they have other people bidding. You can write a letter, and you can let her know all the things and
personal
all.
plea.
Yeah, what you're
let
gonna
her
do?
know?
Yeah, let her know in your letter what you'll do with the clothes, how they'll make you feel, where you wear them. Let them know that they're really living on in a different life. Maybe she'll give you a discount.
Hey.
It's like, but here's the thing though. If that were the case, like they're gonna be like doll clothes to me because like the arm is only gonna be able to fit like my toe. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like the pant size, the inseam is really for my fucking arm. That's all. I mean, let's be clear here. Jenna is very tiny.
She's very
I think.
tiny.
Very petite. Very petite.
Yeah, that was a fun scene to go through. All the things.
Yeah, I do
All of the
need.
things.
I do want a little bit more from Jenna in personal scenes. We do get a little bit later with, heaven forbid, decorating her Christmas tree, but I would like a little bit more. Because
It's very
I agree.
surface.
it feels a little
surface right now.
disjointed. Like, for instance, getting rid of the clothes, I would have liked that scene with a cast member as well as the woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly,
kind
like
of-
Uba would have been great in
Yes,
that
because
scene.
oh, give me that. No, I'll
take
take
it, I'll
that.
take it,
Like,
I'll
there
take
could
it.
have been a little bit more comedy and I think a
Yeah,
little bit more
yep.
texture with that.
Yeah.
Because that didn't have to live as a standalone.
No, it
That
could
could have lived
had
with the front.
Yeah.
Being
They
there
could
for
have.
fun. Like, oh, Uba, I know you're into fashion. I know you'll be there to support me. Can you come over and help me get rid of some clothes? I have a friend who tells me no to everything. So I need you to be there as like the buffer.
The balance.
To come in
Yeah.
and say, no, do keep that. Do keep that.
Right.
Or before I know it, I'll
agree.
get rid of everything. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that. Just
Yeah,
could have been just like a little
totally.
easier.
I don't think we had no scenes with Jenna and other cast members
I
outside
know.
of Britain's Giving at the top.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
So it was a little,
disjointed.
yeah, it was a little disjointed.
I agree
A little
with that.
disjointed.
And speaking of Bryn and Britain's Giving, well, Bryn and Sai is next. I
Another
love that
coffee.
scene.
Coffee and tea,
Mhm.
darling.
And the travel chess set. And I know Erin joins as well. But like,
I love it.
I love it.
Very endearing.
I really want to
Really
see
is.
a scene of her like in Central Park playing chess.
Yeah.
You know, because they have the little.
She may have to practice a little bit more so that she
Oh,
knows
yeah.
how to hit the top
Oh,
thingy.
that-
Because we get
that
that flash
flash.
at the event. But
Oh, and he's like, you hit it on the top. She's like, oh.
it was sweet though.
I
Yeah.
loved it.
And I also love that she's, explaining that look, when she was growing up, she wasn't fortunate enough to have access to a lot of these hobbies and things that
Yeah.
she wanted to. And now as an adult, she's giving that to herself.
And I love
chess
that.
and ballet and I forget the other thing that she Fencing. I want to see Erin fencing.
Please.
Not Erin,
Erin
excuse me,
Bryn.
Bryn. I want to
Well,
see
I
Bryn
also wanna
fencing.
see Erin
By the way, I'll
fencing
see
there,
Bryn
too.
fencing too. Fuck.
We got
Bravo, fucking bravo.
You're fired.
I firing myself.
You are an abomination to showrunners around the world, okay?
I'm an abomination to people who speak the English language
I
around the
know.
world.
It's been rough
So there's
today
that.
for most of
Today's-
us. I can't speak for Betsy,
Rough.
but whew, it's been
Oh,
rough.
it's been rough all the way.
No, but again, I do like that scene. We do get more backstory. I just, I'm a fan. I love Bren.
Me
Well,
too.
I really fucking
And
do.
the chemistry between Bryn, Sai, and Uba at the end of the episode, fantastic.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm not saying that there's no other chemistry between anyone else on the cast, but I mean, even this like coffee date again.
You mean Bryn and Uber or Bryn and Sai?
No, Bryn, Uba, and Sai.
Oh,
At
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
end,
yeah. Sorry,
that's
I
when the
got
chemistry is soaring
Mm-hmm.
for me. But even this coffee scene with Bryn, Sai, and Aaron, the chemistry's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice to see Aaron explaining to everybody what the fuck happened because they all
They're all
understand.
like, what?
But they also understand that she's just been this way. It's just confusing to everyone.
Yeah.
No
They talk
accountability.
about no accountability. No accountability. And so you can't move forward. Things just become stagnant and it's a rinse and repeat cycle.
I mean, I hate being so repetitive, but it's not about the intention, it's about the impact. And what Jessel fails to understand is that you don't have to be a bad person for being perceived incorrectly. All you have to do is take accountability and understand that, oh, that was not my intention, but fuck, I am sorry that that's how you perceived that, or that's how I came off to you.
Yeah.
I think so many people mistake apologies for omission or admission.
Wrongdoing or
Yeah, it's not an admission of guilt. Like it's sympathetic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And it's taking a step outside of yourself and just, even if it's uncomfortable to maybe have to look in the mirror and see how others are perceiving you or what you may be intending versus what the impact is,
Correct.
taking that accountability is important.
Well, this is where we find out that our spidey senses were not off because Erin does admit that she really didn't want to go to the event, but now she feels like she has to.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, she really didn't want to say that she was going in that fucking coffee scene.
Yep.
Oh.
But now if she doesn't go, she's not supporting me.
God,
Yeah.
she is so fucked.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She is so fucked.
But I feel like none of them want to go. And they kind of all say that. Like Bryn says she'll stop by and Sai's like, yeah.
Yeah.
None of them
He
are
was like, I'll be
feeling
there late. And then Uba gets there like at 5:00.
Why would
one of the
anyone-
first ones there?
I know.
Would you want to go?
it. No.
Well, no.
I wouldn't
no.
want to go either.
No.
Because you just feel like everything that you're doing is like being watched.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is very tight and clenched.
Yeah, like tight butthole.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You know how
Too
I know?
much.
Because they're prepping for the event. And I think some people have trickled in, but Pavitt's drinking champagne with a carrot in it. She's so fucking embarrassed by that.
I know.
But to the point of just like, we get it. It's funny though.
She's being silly.
And he
Like,
even makes a joke. See, I'm trying to be healthy. No, Pavitt, put it away. You're an embarrassment.
Not in front
I'm
of
in
people.
society now.
I'm in
Jesus.
society.
God.
And here's the
God.
thing for people out there, they're like, oh, that was funny. We don't know them well enough and their dynamic well enough for me that I was like, oh, that was really funny. I think that because she wants to have this facade, we have to be the presentable ones. Don't be putting a carrot in your champagne. That's silly. Like, that's how it's reading to me. And
I don't know. It was giving me very Kate and John Gosselin vibes.
Oof.
Well, that didn't end well. So
No,
I mean,
that ended
No, but
very
like
poorly.
just only because I'm rewatching it. Like
Just putting it on.
it
it just doesn't seem.
It was a
like-
very innocuous enough thing.
Yeah.
You know, if he was walking around without his pants on, I'd be like, that I can understand that energy.
Well, I'm telling you, there were a lot of people on TikTok that said there's always a couple that comes on to get divorced, and people think it's this couple.
You really think so?
Well, I don't know what I think. I don't want to be. I mean, who knows? But
Well, maybe Pavitt can move back to Dallas because that's where I think, were living before.
Right.
And Jessel can stay. And Jessel can stay in New York City.
Right.
yeah,
Hey, there you go.
mean,
You know,
who knows? More to see.
more
but
to see. More to see. Well, we're at the event.
We're at the event.
There's the supposed who's who of fashion.
Oh boy.
I'm not. Look,
Everybody was a stranger to me, including some of the cast.
I am not the judge and jury and executor of who's the who's who.
Yeah, but you are of this podcast.
Yeah,
so
within the three of us,
step
you know
into
the
the
most.
shoes and
Take
buck
those
up.
pumps and
I would
run
have.
with it.
Well, no joke. I would have thought that Grace Coddington was going to be there, and then Bryn makes a comment later on. Yes, the guy who was the editor in chief. I don't want to say guy. Let me rephrase that. Mickey Boardman, who was the editor in chief of Paper Magazine, that has been discontinued since 2020. I understand that. Come on, people.
Yeah, there's like a couple
I mean,
of
Christ.
former Vogue editors.
Yes.
Former. I'm sorry,
By the-
Anna Wintour was not stepping
I'm not,
into Jessel.
and I don't want to denigrate, as Heather Dubrow would say, I don't want to denigrate anybody's career. But let's put things into perspective. Okay. There was someone from Amazon. God, see, now I feel like I'm just dragging. I'm not going to say that Amazon has a connection with Bravo, but there is a pipeline there.
Yes.
A lot of Bravo celebrities do work with Amazon.
Those Amazon Lives and they
Yeah,
sell.
and like that's cool. And
Yeah.
look, I think it's cool. I think this event's cool. I wouldn't have known that this was a job of hers, even though I'm starting to gather that it was two things. It was philanthropic and it was a job. I'm
Yeah.
just putting it out there. It was another event to me.
It was just another event at an apartment.
And Jenna's not there.
Jenna
We
is
know that
not
because she said she's
there.
not going to go.
Right.
She's the first to say she's not going to go. They FaceTime her.
Yeah.
Jenna answers. What is she doing? Decorating a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
With her family. Okay.
And her godchildren.
And her godchildren.
Yes. And the chef / friend.
Oh, and the chef. The chef was a big hit.
Yeah, it was an event. If you have a chef and it's an event.
I agree. Right. It's a family event.
But I think that we're judging because it's family. I guess that doesn't make it an event. I'm confused.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I
okay.
think we're judging based on what Jenna said at the top at the
Oh, that's
Friendsgiving.
true.
Because she's like, I don't know, it's something, an event or something.
Here's
but I
what
can't
I'll
be
say.
there.
I support the women feeling, I get it, and I validate their feelings on why wasn't she just up front or forthcoming with saying exactly what it was. But perhaps if she had said exactly what it was, they would have, not let it go like they didn't let go of Jessel's sex life. You know what I mean?
Correct. Right.
I
Yes.
there's parts of me where I kind of understand why she doesn't say it off the top. And then on the flip side, I get why the women feel like, come on.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
do.
this is putting the pussy on the pedestal.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if Jenna really didn't want them to know and didn't and wanted to not go to the event and didn't want them to know why she wasn't going to the event, we wouldn't have had a FaceTime.
She wouldn't have answered the fucking FaceTime.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Full stop.
So where do we stand on that?
I don't really have a fucking problem with it.
Neither do
Jenna's
I.
they're all grown ass adults. Jenna's not able to go to the event, or she doesn't want to. She is not required to. Yes, I know that there's also a show element to this, but she has a prior engagement, which is being filmed, and that's that.
Well, was it being filmed? I think that was on an iPhone.
Oh, maybe.
I think her Christmas tree decorating
maybe.
ceremony, like Rockefeller Center,
Yeah.
was fucking.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Maybe that's just. I mean, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. I do agree that, like, I wish that for the sake of the women, if I'm being fair, I get why they felt like she kind of lied or like isn't being forthcoming.
I just don't even get the vibe though that they cared at all. The only one that was really pushing that story of the LIE Lions was Bren. And I think because Bren's still kind of harping on like she has this narrative in her head where if she does something, it's perceived.
It gets called out.
Yeah, it gets called out. She gets her feet held to the fire. But when Jenna does it, now this is the second time in a row that Jenna's done something and it's just got, a little slap on the wrist or, it's Jenna Lyons, so who really cares? But like even Sai, like they're all kind of laughing. They're all like, oh, that was weird. Why didn't why didn't she just say she was hanging out with family? But
Yeah.
then, like, they're all laughing at the end. Like, I don't even think they give a flying fuck.
I don't think so either. I think that they pointed it out, but that it was a little bit in jest. Like they didn't harp on it.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem like there was any like, holding a grudge or something that's going to perpetuating. I mean, maybe it will be brought up
God
next
forbid.
week.
We have
forbid
5
something
scenes
get let
next
go.
week.
No, is this gonna be one of those things like is like?
I hope not. But what I will
I
say
hope
is
not.
the trailer that we got had nothing about that. So
Right.
let's just hope that this doesn't turn into something,
Fingers crossed.
Please for us.
I know.
I mean, we already have to see again Jessel and Aaron. Once Aaron arrives, squash the beef again.
Oh, yeah.
What's the fucking deal?
I mean,
Before you step a foot further in my house. Let's
Shoes
be
on
friends. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
a shoe house?
Oh, I love when Sai gets there. Is this a shoe on or off house?
I mean,
Come on in.
Why does she need to clear the air again?
Because she feels
I don't
awkward.
know. Exactly. That's right.
And she just kind of
does.
left. She just left the coffee. I work. And she left. And then Aaron's like, she's a lunatic.
Oh my god, I forgot she said
Aaron,
that.
Aaron's like talking like kind of not really to the producer, but to the producer.
she's talking to the
producers.
She's a lunatic.
She's talking to the crew and the producers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that too. That was a great little moment. I love those. And then what Jessel tries to explain, this is when this comes up,
Oh,
that she,
yeah.
she's just like Sai. She
No,
came from
no.
nothing and she worked for it. And Sai calls bullshit. Like,
That is no. It
you
is,
come across like old money.
Oh, and she got offended by that. Yeah.
Like, guys, come on.
here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to invalidate Jessel's perception of herself because that's what she feels like, right? No. Sai lived on her own at 16 in Brooklyn and had to literally make her own way.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not to say that Jessel didn't also make her own way. The both of them can start from the bottom. Now we're here. But we can't forget what it was to get there. It's not to take away from Jessel's own adversity, but we cannot say that we're the same when Jessel went to one of the top prep schools in London.
Yeah. Come on.
Sorry.
And we also don't, Sai opened up big time like a couple episodes ago. We also don't know anything about
Thank you.
Jessel.
Right.
Jessel's
right.
just saying she's like her and she sees herself. And I'm like, but again, exactly what you said. What do we know about that? We
Right.
know
Yeah.
nothing.
What with what evidence? Like where is that even coming from? We know nothing about her. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think what it really comes down to is it's like almost as if like Jessel's embarrassed to talk about where she comes from and she's trying to figure out what her identity is in the group. But she's trying to figure out what character she's supposed to, what role she's supposed to fill.
It's too
That's what it
much.
feels like,
It's just
right?
too
Yeah, that's a
She
good
can't
call.
tell if she's supposed to be the girl who came from nothing, if she's supposed to be the girl who has it all, if
Yeah.
she's supposed to be the working mom,
She's doing too
if she's
much.
supposed to be
Yeah.
the stay-at-home mom, if she's supposed to be the Montessori prep school mom, if she's supposed to be the cheese and charcuterie mom, if she's supposed to be the mom that lives in Chelsea, or if she's supposed to be the mom that knows everything about New York City and doesn't
Yeah.
know anything.
Yeah.
So therefore, she comes off phony as fuck.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to figure out what character role she's
play.
supposed to fill on Real Housewives of New York City.
Yeah.
And the only role I want her to be is Jessel.
And she doesn't know how to do
Yeah.
that.
Nope.
Yeah.
doesn't-
By the way, that's a
she
really
doesn't
good
know.
call.
That's what it feels
And-
like
and
to
that
me.
is. It comes across very inauthentic
Yep.
because she's having a little bit of an on-camera identity crisis.
Yes,
And-
and that's why the women are like, I don't know,
don't know
like
who
we
you
walk
are.
on eggshells because they don't like they'll say something and it'll offend her, so they
Yeah.
don't know. They don't
Yeah,
know where
exactly.
to go.
Well, and not to always bring it back to like they aren't very close friends. If you're, because this I would
Yeah.
imagine is a very daunting thing to do. First
Mm-hmm.
season, go on. What do I want to be? But if you at least have one person that like knows you, you can have kind of a counterpart being like, hey. What are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
you seem like, even if it's off camera, like, you seem like you're a little frazzled, like things, you're overreacting to things that aren't a big deal. Like, this isn't who you are. Like, I feel like she doesn't have anyone, and we can't really rely on the husband because the husband's not going to be in most of these scenes.
Well,
Right.
and then when we do, she cuts him off.
Yeah.
It's like we all have to accept as viewers that they didn't know each other, and I know that can be irritating. We talk
it
about
is
it
what
every
it is.
episode.
Yeah,
So
it is what it is,
If
guys.
we
We
put
didn't cast
that,
it.
and if we put that aside, she's still really not making an effort. But she's doing moving the papers around the desk, so it looks like, but it's not actually making an authentic effort.
Yeah.
Or she wouldn't be on the defense. I mean, if she's on the defense with her husband before he's even trying to figure out how to explain to her authentically and correctly without offending her how she can be perceived. She cuts them all. So I'm a bitch. So I'm a princess. So it's like, so then none of us are going to want to feel comfortable to try to get to know her because there's not going to be any way to do that without feeling like she's going to be fucking ripping our throats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
she wants to be taken seriously, but then she's like, I have to take my makeup off. Which is, by the way, I don't care that that's what she has to leave to do, but you're the one that's on a goddamn hill telling everybody that you're this, that, and the other. But then you say things like, I have to leave to get my makeup taken off, and I could laugh, but I don't know if I laugh at that, are you going to be upset with me? But if I go, is she working? But then I can't quite, like, we don't know where to go. And if you don't know where to go, then you're going to drown.
Yeah. She's just awkward as fuck.
Yeah.
Very awkward.
She doesn't know how to start a conversation, and she doesn't know how to end.
No, and she's
and then the
starting to
stuff
go
in the
off.
middle is what Erin says. She's like a word salad. You input a topic, and then she just spits words out at you that don't really have a coherent thought. So I don't know.
Well, we do get some comedic relief for the rest of this scene, which I very much welcomed.
Oh.
For Sai turning
Sai.
to Bryn and saying, "You look like old money."
Oh.
That's the nicest thing anyone's
See,
ever said to
lean
me.
into it, baby.
Can I
I'm
put
saying?
Princess
Lean
on
into
LinkedIn?
it.
You know what it is? We're getting with Bryn what we should be getting with Jessel.
Yeah, just
And not because we want Jessel to be a certain type of way. I need her to unclench the butt.
don't take life so seriously.
I'm gonna get her a butt plug. Widen that out a little bit. just for some fucking relief. You know what I mean?
I gotta tell you, my most favorite moment from this entire season, is when Sai and Uba were like hugging and Sai was like, I'm like your short model boyfriend
Or wealthy boyfriend.
wealthy
Yeah,
boyfriend,
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is.
Boyfriend.
And he goes, you know that boyfriend that just clinches onto the tall
model?
model, and
Yeah.
he just smiles so proudly.
It's
and
the
then
guy
she
in
just
tech
does
who
it.
dates the
Yes.
model.
Yes, and I love it because she is so tall, and I don't know how tall Sai is, but like obviously Uba's so tall.
There's like
Yeah.
a foot difference
So
there.
just like the
was
physicality of
great.
them like hugging, and then Sai like putting up her champagne and like trying to look tall. It killed me.
I'm gonna
I
step up to
fucking
your level
loved
with
it.
on my stacks of cash.
I'm telling
or something
you.
like
So
that.
funny.
I'm
That
telling
was
you,
great.
those three women, Sai, Uba, and Bryn, I think have the best chemistry so far.
Mm-hmm.
A little Erin dabbled in here and there. Jessel's an outsider, and Jenna's not around enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the three of them, though, are starting to really turn it on for me, and I very much appreciate
They're bringing
it.
the
It was-
comedy.
Yeah, it was just fun.
He's very Tom Cruise, Katie Holmes. We used to see them on the
Oh my
my
god!
God.
Yes.
Poor Katie always had to wear flats. I'm like, she doesn't want to wear flats.
No, she doesn't.
Nobody
Okay.
like 5'2".
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, it's a slow burn, but we're getting there.
We're getting
Yeah.
there.
We're getting there. We're
and
getting
we're
there.
starting to really kind of, and because I agree, that trio
Yeah.
whether they were friends before or not, they are gaining and cultivating the chemistry, and it's working.
They
And
like to
it's-
have fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're still early on. I don't know how many episodes this season is, but as it stands right now, I think Jessel would be on the fence to whether or not she would be asked back next season.
You think?
Yeah. Or definite would be.
Mm-hmm. Well, as it sounds right now, yes.
Yes. She's got to open up. She's got to,
She's not.
and she's
Been
not
opening
there
up
yet.
at all.
The other three, keep doing what you're doing. And I want to see Jenna more with the group.
I do too. But we'll see that. We just got
will.
back from the Hamptons. They were all together.
That's true.
To be fair, it's really been just this episode.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, by the way, it's absolutely true. Yeah.
I like how earlier I was like, I love Jenna's solo scenes. But yes,
we're hypocrites.
I would like to see her with the group more, but
yeah.
just shouting out myself because I know I said that earlier.
Shout
And you
out
know
to
what? I
Betsy.
stand by it.
Yeah.
But I wonder both. With
You want
group
more.
and solo. Yeah.
Well, guys.
Well, that's RHONY.
Yeah.
That's RHONY. Oh, and I want to just say one more time, because this will be the third episode that we do that I haven't said this, but I think after this, we're done saying it. I go by Lauren, guys. Because I said it in the other episodes, but some
Yes.
people may not listen to OC, and some people may have not wanted to listen to our Below Deck episode.
yeah.
So just
Totally.
for everybody out there, I had a pseudonym, and it was JJ. And I only did it because I didn't want it to prevent... Well, I didn't want to create a narrative or a perception to people hiring me that I am a tea spiller. So I just thought it'd be easy initially
Yeah.
to go by JJ. But now that given everything's kind of going on, and I don't owe anybody that. So, Lauren, guys, my name's Lauren.
Guys, she's being real. She's finally being real.
Be real.
Yeah, exactly. Katie Maloney. Katie Maloney.
real.
Real. Real.
Look, JJ or Lauren, Katie Maloney is still your wife. So that nothing else has
Guys,
changed.
she's still the same person.
She's still the same
She
person.
is the same person.
Oh, God.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us on our season 14, episode 5 recap of Real Housewives of New York City. As always, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe us on Spotify
Yeah.
or many. Guys, you know, fuck me.
Wherever you
I'm
listen
done.
to your podcast.
Yeah, I sound like I have a dick in my mouth and I cannot. It's been the whole episode. You're not going to hear it because we'll cut that shit out.
Having a complex about it.
But I do. I sound like a dick in my mouth all fucking episode, and it's like my mouth is dry. Anyway, please do not forget to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are available on all platforms.
Come find us.
Also, if you'd like to donate a cocktail, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the episode, and you'll see a link there. Click that and donate a cocktail. A cocky. Yeah.
We could all use a cocky every now and again.
Because this entire episode has felt like a cocky in my mouth. Okay? Like fucking for real.
action,
Okay, it is a little cock, little kook.
she needs
That
a
hasn't
little,
happened to me in a really long time. I forgot what that was like. And this is the first time in a really long time where I was like, oh my god, I'm going back in time. It feels like there's been a cocky in my mouth this entire
The body
fucking.
remembers.
Body never forgets, baby. Body never forgets.
Zinger.
Body never forgets. Anyway,
that
guys, thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
Bye, y'all.
guys. Bye.